Welcome to TradingLounge and the indices, and starting with the SPX here, the cash market, and we're looking at a expanded flat correction, so an ABC pattern here. And today we're going to be looking at the good, the bad and the ugly for this market. And just to get things into perspective here, just keeping a pretty clean sort of chart, let me just squish and squash all this up here for a moment. So if we're looking for this wave 4 low here, we normally look for a 38.2% retracement level, take it from this top rather than that top. So the 38.2% is still down here closer to the 5,000 area here. But the trend up here has had a bit of a habit of coming in around this number here. So if we take this and bring it back down to this previous third wave here, and then bring this one up to this one here, we can see that it came down to the 236 sort of area. So it doesn't have to come all the way down, but we're also going to have a look at a move that can come further down as well. So in this instance here, this is our sort of primary count for this. We're looking at the A, the B and the C as an expanded flat correction, and expanded flat here in that, so that's where that is, so that's cool. And from B to C here, we're looking for 5 waves. So in that instance, we're looking down, let's just go to the 2-hour chart and capture this here, and then we'll put in the intermediate degree here. So this is what we're looking at here at the moment. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. There's different ways to count this down here at the 5-8 here, which also leaves it around the 20,000 for the Nasdaq and around large numbers. And number 8 here, number 8 according to the trading levels is the third strongest number. So we can see that consolidation there. We can see that support there. So you know, there is a history, there is evidence of that being a strong number, and you know, getting through a particular, migrating from support to resistance is a little bit of a technique as well. And large numbers attract sort of large orders, but this is the basic sort of pattern that we look for that, and quite often it will come back above the level. Forget about that picture, this one here. So sometimes it can just hit here and drop, but this is pretty much what we're looking at the 5,800, and the same at the 20,000 with the Nasdaq there as well. So all normal stuff, but it does skew bend and twist the wave count, so sometimes it's a little bit difficult to understand that. But in a bit of a nutshell, without rabbiting on too much, we're looking for a wave 4 and a wave 5 here, and then we're going to be moving to the upside. So that's the standard count. It is quite possible to have the low in here already, and we'll look at that on the maybe on the futures on the Nasdaq, and have a look at a stock on that as well. Now what I would like to do here is just go back to the daily chart here for a moment, and we're looking at this here. Now obviously this is not the top here, this is the top over here, but the problem with that is that the move up here is basically in 3 waves, or you could even look at it another particular way as well. But the point being is it's not a nice straight impulse wave of 5 waves up here. But what about if that is the top, and we're counting the C wave down here in 5 waves, and that is the top there? So I just wanted to have a look at my alternative count again for this, as we have been doing. So that would put a top in place there, and this is how this would be counted. Now if that is a top and we had 5 waves coming down here, then yes, I could put the A wave here and then the B wave up here, and bring the C wave over to here, sort of A and C having roughly the same sort of equality in length and amplitude and so on. So we could end up looking like that here. The way that this is resolved at the top here would be looking at it like this. So it is a bit squishy. So from this wave 4 as 1 and 2, and then going up for 3 and 4 and 5 here, squishing it up a little bit, and then dropping in this here where we have 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3rd, 4th and 5th here. So that would be the move to the to the downside at this point. So I'm just going to tuck those away here. And yeah, so that would be it at this point. Now, obviously, you know, the the White House comes out with you know, information or events, you know, left field and right field and whatever. So we don't really know what you know, what's going to sort of drive this market here, but we could be assured that after 5 waves here, we're going to see a bounce. Now, will that bounce be a B wave and then down again? Or will it be an impulse wave to the upside? The primary count is having it to the upside here in this case, and this is the one that we're going to focus on. But it's good to know the other one as well. So when we're traveling to the upside here, we just got to make sure that, well, in very simple terms, if we took the top and the bottom here somewhere, the 56 is always a good number, but we'll just pop that down here for a moment. So what we could do in this traveling to the upside here, this is, we'll either get 3 waves up to the 61.8% and then come down, or we'll end up with 5 waves to the 61.8%. And that's when we know that we'll have an ABC, and then we'll be going up again at that point. So while we're moving up here, that will be the next the next riddle that we need to solve. And it's looking at the indice by itself alone could be a bit hard to work this out here. Once as it matures, it becomes easier. But we'll probably look for signals in the stock market for that, in individual stocks, to see their counts, and then we'll sort of group them together and take it from that point. So I'm just going to come into the 15-minute chart here and look at that whole trend to the downside from wave B down to wave C there, and we'll drop in this here. So we've got 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 can actually drop in over here for this as well as an A, B, C, D, E here. Let me just see what I've done on this one here. So I've left that up there. So I might just drop that in over here. And that can drop down into here. In fact, I'll just get rid of that for the moment and just keep that a little bit simple at this point. So actually we'll look at this on the E-minis. That's where I was looking at this anyway. So I'll just go straight to the E-minis here, and we can get it in a little bit more detail, because basically we're trading this market, you know. So from the top here, we're looking at 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then the third wave here, and then inside of this we're looking at the correction here as an A and a B and a C and a D and an E wave here for this, and then 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we're looking at this here as the A wave, the B wave and the C wave up here for wave 4, then 1 and 2, and looking for this to come further down. Now while we're here, this wave 4 here, we know wave 4s can get complicated, so it could play out that this here, we end up getting 5 waves up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then working lower at that point. Okay, so just be mindful of that. And the reason for that is that if I come over to stocks and just come to my stock list here and just have a look at Nvidia, is one of the ones that is looking quite good to the upside, because that's basically what happens when a market turns. Out of all the stocks that are there, one will sort of break out, and then the second sheep will follow, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and all the stocks will go at that point. So our aim is to find the lead from the leading stocks, and Nvidia is one of those. There are others as well. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to say to ourselves, you know, where the market's come down here and we've got this low in place, and okay, that's fine, but how do we prove that that's the low? Well, we need an impulse wave to the upside, and that's 5 waves. So we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now to make wave 1 up here and then wave 2. Now obviously this is not complete at this point. You know, it's not done. So that means that you know, it may finish off that we get a nice five waves here. It's something to look for, because if we get five waves here, and there are other stocks like this as well, if we get five waves here, then it's not going to be too long before some of the following stocks are going to be, you know, tracking this as well here. Just looking at down, covering this gap back down here as wave 2. So will this produce five waves? 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, the fourth, and the fifth here. Will it give us those five waves? If it gives us those five waves, then we can look at some of the markets having lows in place. Now, they won't all come into play first. You know, the S&P could still have another low down because it's got the banks, you know, in as its constituents in its in its index, and so on and so on. But these stocks here, if there's a handful of them, if they produce five waves to the upside, then we can start really talking about lows in the market. That means that some of the, you know, indices or whatever can just continue to push up from here. Some may make a new little low first and then follow up, but they will follow each other. And this means all of the indices around the world. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. Our leading indicator is looking at stocks like Nvidia, and there are others. Just watch the stock video for that. And once we can confirm this, then that's fine. And it may not get confirmed. You know, we may end up with a little A wave here, a B wave here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could actually have a C wave up here, and then this would just work lower from this point and have one more low in here. So we don't have the five waves yet. Okay, that's the takeaway. We're just looking around, doing our homework, trying to build a case. You know, we're looking for evidence. Do we have the evidence? No, we don't. But it could play out here, and if it does, then, you know, we take action in other places. So that will be that. And yeah, so let's just move over to the Nasdaq. So I'm just going to stay on the 15-minute chart here for this, and I'm not sure why they have gone haywire there, but I don't need those. So it's the same thing from the top here down to the bottom. We're still looking for one more move down. Now, the beauty about this here, just to talk about it a little bit further, we know that's the 38.2%, so we don't need that there, but it's there, so I'll leave it. So basically we've got wave 3 here, and we're looking for an A wave, a B wave, and I'm thinking that we've got a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for this, and then we come down for this and have one more low to come in play here for the Nasdaq. But if Nvidia and some of the others, I mean, some of the stocks need to come down. Apple needs to come down a bit further. Anyway, there's a handful of them on both sides of the fence, being positive and negative. But the good news here with this market is that we've got the 20,000 here. So that's a major level. And if that became the support, and we would need to see a pattern like this here. So if that was a 20,000, at the moment we're looking for it to retest that. And it may get to this point and drop and not come back and make a new low in the market. Or the normal thing is to do this, and then have the first high above the level. If it's going to be bearish, it can do this and it can do that. If it's going to be bullish, it'll need this high up here. Once we've got that first high above the level, we can go long above that. We can go to the second high, and we can go to the third high over here. That's our plan here. So it's quite common for a market to drop through drop through a price level. You know, this is the normal process. It comes down, bounces off it, ends up going through it, and goes back and check it. And it's either going to get rejected here and drop, or it's going to be accepted, and then we'll get a classic trading levels pattern here, and then we'll look to go long above that. We have to wait for the first high above the level, and then we can go to the second level here as well for this. So you know, with Nvidia in that, there is a case that we could have a low in place here. So if we look at the the futures contracts here. It's not the best looking thing off the low here, but this is how I've counted a little bit different. But having wave 3 and 4 here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, it's not displaying a very nice situation here. But this can be counted as being corrective or bullish. So we'll just see how it plays out. We don't need to do anything whatsoever until we're at this 20,000 here. So like I said, we need, this, and this, and then we can go to the upside and we can look at being long above this high here. It's as simple as that. We need that. We need to discover this needs to be an impulse wave at this point. Some of the stocks are giving it to us. Some of the stocks are suggesting that there's another low to come in. So anyway, we're getting closer and closer to to all of this. Okay, let's have a look at the DAX. Okay, I'm going to look at it on the weekly chart. So we've actually got the index here for this. So it's kind of interesting chart, really. I mean, for me, in terms of Elliott wave, it's certainly not finished to the upside. We've got this wave 1 here and wave 2 here. We can't look at this as wave 3, 4 and 5 and have a top in here, because this wave 1 here is shorter than this wave 1 here. So wave 3 can't be the shortest. It can be this move here can be shorter than this one here, but that means that the next move here has got to be shorter than this one, and that's just not the case. So we've definitely got 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So we've definitely got a bullish trend here, as being pointed out before. So really we're in, we've gone from the third of the third of the third here, and we are seeing it quite strong in here. The next from 20,000, which is a major level, then we have 1, 2 and 3 up here that make group 1, and currently we're at the top of group 1, and the number 3 here, the 23, or the number 3 as I call it, is the fourth strongest number. So 1, 5, 8 and then 3. A bit unusual, but this is the top of minor group 1, because if it gets support here, if it gets a tested support on number 3, the 23 in this case, it could be any 3, but this 3, then what it's actually doing is it's separating itself from being pulled to this closest largest number, and then be pulled up to 5, because from 20 here, the Fibonacci sequence is 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, and then 5. So tested support on top of 3 here will stop any pull coming from this number here, and then this number here will pull it. And it doesn't need as much strength, but it does need that 23 is a line in the sand. So really that's what we're sort of working with at the moment. And it's just one way of many roads to Rome, and it's just one way of looking at it. But that's the sort of weekly chart there for that. So we can see easily that it's in a bullish trend, and this is it here. So we've got wave 2 here and then 1 and 2 here. So we're working in this trend here, and it looks a nice 1 and 2 here, and then we need to sort out this here. So just dropping in this count here is 3 and 4 here. Kind of looks okay. There could be mistakes in that. We could possibly look at things a little bit differently. This move down through here, could also be counted in 5 waves as well. So I could put wave 3 over here. That would also be a nice fit as well, and look at this whole thing as an A and a B and a C wave over here. That's quite possible. There's a few different ways to view all of this, but when the US market starts to go up on an intraday basis, we start seeing those US tech stocks, then this will psychologically follow as well in all of this. And this level here, this 23, is really what we're is what we're looking at here as well for this. So should jump in, but it's not. Not to worry, but anyway, that's where we are at the moment. So this 3 here we're putting up here, but if you've got a different count than this here, then you could certainly be right. We're trying to sort of figure out if that's the low there. Once again, if the US markets need to come down, we also need to consider if this is, this kind of counts quite nicely down here for the FTSE and for this market as impulsive. So we could end up having you know, something like this here first before covering this gap over here and just taking any stops out of here, you know how it works, and then do this here, do this here as well. You know, there could be something like that. So we need to be a little bit careful. But in the bigger picture is we're really looking for that 23 here, the top of minor group 1, to become the support there. We can fill these in here as well. We can fill those dots in at that point. So let's just go to the 15-minute chart here and talk about this a little bit. Okay, so now they've populated. So yeah, now one of our members had a good count here on this one here. So this is the DAX here as wave A here, and then a B here, then 1 and 2 here, and then 3, 4, and 5 here. So that kind of fits. I can see that this is in the background here, it's got CFD here. So we need to be a little bit careful about the CFD, because this little way on the cash market, on the futures market, it's lower, but on the cash market, this one here is higher than this one here, I think. So let's just come back over here. And so when I put in, I'll just put in the data window here. So this one here has got a top here of 64.24, 64.24, and this one here has got a top in of 62 here. So this one is higher here for this. So if this is going to, you know, take out that top there, we can't call that wave 1 here. We could look at it as an ABC pattern or something, but then it leaves this leg here. It's just like when we're a bit of a wave short here at the moment. The other way to sort of handle this, well, let's just have a look at before we run off there. So we're basically looking for a possible low in here, and in this case here, it's got quite a nice looking 5 waves to the upside, by the way, as well. It's just a bit difficult to put this wave C in here at the moment for this, you know, that's the thing. So we'll just have a look at now we're looking at the cash, we'll just have a look at the futures market, and it'll be a little bit different in this instance. So let's have a look at it here. So if we consider the top as wave 3 here, and we can look at this as an A and a B and a C wave here, because in this particular structure here, if I've pulled apart all of this here, so I'm looking at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here, and I'll just drop in the other little count so you can see that in here, and this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here of the next degree smaller in there. So that's how I've counted it on the futures market. So it kind of leaves it in a couple of different ways. It leaves it it leaves it either an A, B, and C wave here for the A wave here, and then the B wave, and then the C wave, and we've got a low in place. And then we're working to the upside. Can I count this here as an impulse wave to the upside? Nah, can't do that. But if it took this top out here and built a case here, the 23 we're looking at, that's the line in the sand for, you know, the bigger picture there, that 23 there. So that we really want that as support. We either want that as support, or we need to identify an impulse wave to the upside. Because the other side to this as well is, realistically, we could also look at this here, as I mentioned, as wave 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here, and then having some sort of ABC pattern up here and coming down like I mentioned before, you know. So onto the upside here, if the US markets rally, you know, into their wave 4s, then that's going to leave this up here roughly in this space here before dropping down further here, and we'll need to bring wave 4 over here at that point, and we'll look at this as 5 waves down and then an ABC pattern here. So we just don't have enough evidence for the market, you know, as a low being in place. All I can say is that you know, this whole move here from all of this here, from this low here all the way up here, you can see that it's a little bit you know, it's got overlapping wave structures in it. So you kind of start getting into the guessing game of it all. And for me, if Elliott wave is clear, then you can use it. If it's not clear, you can't use it. So to me, this is not clear here. you know, you could find the cleanest dirty shirt count, that type of thing. But for me is that this 23 here, which is the 50-60% retracement level here as well, and would give a sort of head shoulders sort of thing to all of that. We need that number there, 23, as the support, right? Unless we can see something in the S&P that's going to give it away at that point. So that's really where that is at the moment. So the 23,000 is the sort of lucky number at this point. Yeah, so I'll leave that at that, and we'll have a look at the FTSE. Okay, the FTSE, let me just get it into perspective here. So we've also got this top over here, same as the DAX really, and we're trying to figure out the move coming down through to here. Now, my best bet for this is that we have a little push up here to wait for here, so to speak, and then come down here and then go up. Now, this move down through here, once again, you could count it in lots of different ways. It's just not, it's just not sort of clear enough, really. You know, I could count it in 5 waves coming down, you know. And, you know, I was looking at, so anyway, I don't want to do anything just here. I don't have an impulse wave up here. I would expect it a little bit higher, and then it's possibly coming down. And the reason I think it's coming down, if I look at the general market, which I was having a look at not the 250, the FTSE 350 here, because it's got more of the same pattern, more sort of a bit more in tune with the 100 rather than the 250. So this is a little bit sort of different here, because from the top here I could look at this, I suppose I could look at it as an A and a B and a C wave down here as well, but it sort of counts quite nicely as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. And when I'm looking at this move here, I think this is just sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I think it's still got one more little move down here, and that would give us, by the way, in this instance here, that would give us, so I'm looking for 5 waves in this move here, so I'm thinking that we still need to move down here. But in this case, I can actually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the A wave, the B wave, and then I can also count 5 waves up here. So it's kind of interesting on the 350 that I can look at this here as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave down here. I'm looking at it as 1 and 2 here. I'm just looking at it as a different, a slightly different count. With all of this, but don't worry about that. It's just me doing stuff, just trying to, you know, I don't mind being in a box. I'm quite happy in a box, but I always, you know, like to know what box I'm in, so I need to look around a bit. So yeah, so we could look at this as, you know, like the DAX, as an ABC pattern here as well. So it's just kind of interesting. I know we're nearly at the end of all of this, you know, so it's just sort of in the guessing game a little bit, and what sort of patterns we got and this and that. So we just have to sort of wait. All the markets are in the same way, and it kind of just all boils back to those tech stocks. So if you watch the tech stocks video, you'll see that what markets, you know, that we're focused on looking at as leading indicators, because once they move, you know, the rest will follow, basically. That's the thing. Okay, so we want to move over to the Aussie market. I'm just going to go straight to the futures market, if that. Okay, so I also want to look for one more, as we were yesterday, I think we were. Anyway, we got this move down here. I'll just take it from this B wave top here, looking down here. So it's our sort of target area in the bigger picture here, and we're looking at this being wave 3, 4, and 5 here. Then an AB. It's quite a nice little corrective move here, all in all. And yeah, it does look a little bit impulsive here too, you know. So you could probably short it under this level here if you wanted to do something like that. But I'm not going to leave that there and do it, because you'll need to understand the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here if that's going to be the case. So the 700, if you get to the 700, you'll be smoking at that point. Yeah, so that's that really. I just feel there's more downside here. Could this be a little bit different? Could this wave 4 here come over to the 38.2% retracement level, and this is some sort of an A wave here, an A, B, C here for the B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. That's also doable as well. So you get a little 5 waves up here and then down, that type of thing. So we just need to, there's nothing to do here. I'm just looking for lows, and we don't have any sort of evidence of that in here. And if you're trading in these sort of environments where we are now within the markets, looking for lows, and we can see that the whole market is shoring up in lots of ways, then you want to use smaller position sizes than what you're normally doing. I know that doesn't give you a thrill. It can almost be sort of annoyingly boring, but you need to put safety first. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.